All right, let's get started. While we wait for everybody to come in, I can check back with the messages. So welcome everybody to Clay Art Center. You're very welcome to join us tonight for Kensuke Yamada. It's the first artist talk of the year for 2021. So we're very excited to start off with Kensuke tonight. If you don't know Clay Art Center, we are located in Westchester, which is a little over 20 miles north of New York City. We're actually in Portchester, and we are a nationally recognized nonprofit organization for the ceramic arts. We run education programs. We run a gallery, a shop, and an artist in residence program. Okay, so thanks everybody for joining us. I'm going to hand it over to Kensuke. Kensuke is, he's going to tell you a little bit more about himself, but he is currently an assistant professor at the University of Arkansas in Little Rock. And he's completed residencies and several shows in the US over the last 10 years since he immigrated here. But you don't need to hear that from me, you need to hear it from him. So Kensuke, you can share your screen and start.
That was good. All right. Hi, everyone. Let's see. Difficult part of a Zoom lecture is that I can't hear or see you guys. So, after hour or so of a talking, sometimes I feel like, are you guys still there, kind of thing? But thanks for joining us today. This is my background. I'm not actually at the Florida. I just have this background to hide this semester chaos of my office. But I would like to share with you guys probably 30, 40 minutes long slide presentation to talk about where I came from, my idea behind my work, also some of the current work. So let's see, let me share my screen here. All right, so slideshow. You guys see this all right? How do I know? Regina, you see this?
Yeah, I'm just coming on to tell you all is
Okay.
good.
All right. So everyone, my name is Kensuke Yamada. My website, which I rarely update since I start teaching, things got crazy. But I more likely use Instagram a lot because I can just post images and share with you guys whether my work is or what's going on with my process and so on. So past few days, maybe a few days ago, I did an Instagram live or so while I was filming a demonstration for this upcoming MCCA. So sort of like Instagram, easy for me to share my process and everything for with you guys. And I rarely look at the Facebook, but I kind of link Instagram to it. So the same information that I pass to the Instagram will be posted on the Facebook as well. But again, I rarely open Facebook. So if somebody friend me and I haven't clicked you, it's not like I don't know you or anything. It's just I haven't checked much about it. So, all right. So go back to where I came from. This is Japan. I'm originally from Japan. I came here 2001, and I was from a little town called Kamakura. Kamakura used to have a capital for a little over 100 years. So for our history, a little over 100 years is not that long, but we did used to have a capital in Kamakura. So Kamakura area is like this. Lots of temples, a lot of historic statues and so. And the reason that the people had a capital there is this area was surrounded by a mountain and the other side was the ocean. So well-protected area that an enemy can't easily come. So they used to have this area for the capital for a little bit. And so this is a picture from an airplane that the first time that I came to United States. So this image from an airplane that always reminds me um, of the first time I came to America. So originally I studied speech pathology in Japan. So I wasn't the art major or anything in Japan. So I studied speech pathology, and after that I decided to come to America. Maybe I was so young that my life to be settled as a speech pathologist, or I went to school for it. But if you're 18 years old, 19, 20, you don't really know where your passion is. So I decided to go to America. Part of it is my father went to Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas, way back. So to me, going to America wasn't that crazy idea till I see this image from inside of an airplane. um, at that point, I didn't even speak English, pretty much like a zero English there at that point. And jump in an airplane and, sit next to the person speak English and you have no idea what they're talking about. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? It's sort of like a mental breakdown right there, looking at the window from an airplane. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? So I went to school first in community college to study English, of course, because I had a zero English at that point. So, and then I transferred to school called Evergreen State College, which located in Olympia, Washington. And their mascot was this thing called Guidak. If you guys are not familiar with a geoduck, it's spelled Geo ducks. Don't look very pretty, but they live over 150 years. So Evergreen was a very unique school, and their motto, the school motto was "Let it all hang out." So I spent some time there at the university, I mean the college, and studied ceramics. And back then, I was making pieces like this. So I measure the kiln, the size of a kiln, and then try to make a piece that fits to the kiln, like the size of a kiln. So that gives me another challenge to learn how to build pieces like coil or slab. And also I was interested in a surface that pretty much like you built the clay, which is clay surface, which is sort of like a canvas to draw and paint. So I was interested in a surface at the same time I was interested in a building process. And those pieces are closed form and probably within 30 inches in both direction. And the reason I was interested in is how fragile ceramic is. And I was interested about containment container or like a containment, big form, big closed form to contain something that's important, something that's energy or passion, feeling, whatsoever. Container was my original idea when I was in undergraduate school. So at that point, I wasn't quite making figurative work, even though my old teachers I learned from were figurative work. So I was interested in the clay at that point so much, like something that I found I like in the college. It's just like, this is it. This is something I like to do, like so direct. What I touch is what's things going to be. So clay and hands, and I don't really use much tools, textures, and the surface, and comes out a little wonky maybe because I touches it or not. I don't use much tool. I was so fascinated about how that relation with the material and myself was so close when then touched clay. So at graduate school, the college mascot got updated to a grizzly bear. Looks way better than Guidak. So I went to University of Montana, Missoula, where Rudy Audio built a program, and I started making figurative work. So this transition happened because when I was making container form, closed big round form, I was showing my work at local artwork or local gallery or something like that. And I was observing that way people react to my piece. And I was thinking, how do I make people to stop and look at my work? How do I get attention from them? So then naturally I moved to figurative form from that container form because, well, figure is a container containing people's soul, energy, passion. At the same time, figurative work that people can relate it to because it looks like everybody else, looks like us, looks like you. So instead of making closed, let's say sort of like an egg shape, I start making figurative form, which still a similar idea of how fragile it is and how it contains emotions and passions and power, but in a figurative form. So I thought it'll deliver a message better to the audience because it looks like everybody else, looks like a human. So this is some piece I made back then. This is like a Japanese kindergarten kid going to school. And I remember that we have to wear same type of a backpack and you put yellow hat on the top. So basically, you're visible on the street because, you're small children. And we walk to school every day. So you wear colorful, I mean, yellow hat like that. So then people can see it, even small children. So, and this piece still very important to me because the people I met, when you go to kindergarten or so, it's the first time you're leaving your family to meet somebody you don't know. You make a friends there, and then you grow up, and then everybody going to go different directions. So this piece kind of always reminds me how we meet and how we separate, and maybe how we meet again. So in a graduate school, I tried to figure what my figurative work needs to be. So I tried a different way, again, working with a surface, but then I tried to build my voice through figurative work. And some of our work is big like this. This is, well, this is me. I wanted to delete myself there, but I'm so young over here. I was, this is maybe 2007, 8, 9 in the area. So about 10 years ago. So even I tried in a different scale. This is probably like a 12 feet tall figure probably. And of course that facility didn't have a the kilns or so to fire this kind of big stuff. So I built these in my studio and cut them in a section and take it to a gas kiln and put them on the kiln and fire them and reassemble kind of thing. But uh, and I was looking at the Viola Frey kind of work, so I wasn't afraid to have all these cutting line. So you see all themes, and I was fine to have all the themes. I made a bunch of them. So pretty much that point in a graduate school, I was mixing probably 2,000 pound of clay a week or so. And I was mixing clay, making piece, mixing clay, making piece every day and night. And definitely that I learned a lot. And of course, it's a graduate school and it goes to critique. And faculty told me that, Ken, this is the ugliest thing you ever made. And I was kind of agreed to that. I was just so big and out of control. And but one thing that I learned about making something big like this, what happened here? Did I just disappear? Let me open this again.
You're good. You're still on the screen.
Yeah, no, my presentation disappeared. Okay, let me go through this quick. We're not that far out, so I can go back. All right, so one thing I learned is if I make something larger than my height, my eye level, the landscape is going to be a part of my work. Just like a Jun Kaneko's work or Viola Frey, if you make something taller than eye level, the surroundings become the part of your work. And your work is changing that landscape. So, even that my work ended up like the ugliest thing I ever made. I learned something from it by changing scale of my work. So this is like my thesis exhibit. So this piece is about 8 feet tall as I can go in the gallery space. And I built this maybe 3, 4 days before thesis open. So I brought my clay and I built a piece, and hopefully I'll make it to the opening. And thankfully, it made it to opening, so it's good. I wanted to share with the people that leather hard stage of a clay and how clay die as it dries. And what the ceramicist does is that we fire them, glaze them to make them alive again. So there's that definitely the beauty of we are dealing with a natural material to create our work. Of course, that's the hardest part because weather conditions so and so, and clay is very difficult material to work with. But then I also see that beautiful side of the way we can revive them, come alive again by fire and glaze. So some of the influence about my work is always South American work or some of the old Chinese work like a Han Dynasty generation or Japanese Haniwa. I'm always fascinated about something that's really, I see that texture, I see the people's hands. And figurative work has been used for many reasons, for religious reasons, definitely for just a souvenir reason, or telling stories, and some American folk art, Japanese folk art, or American cartoon. I watched the Roadrunner and Coyote all the time when I was little, and it seems I'm like we know what's gonna happen, but we just watch them again and again and again. It just some kind of drug or something. It's just really addictive. And GI Joe or Barbie kind of things. In a history, we always had a figurative work. So history of figurative work goes way back at the same time, so that I'm making clay figure with just the hands, nothing new, just like a caveman. So I feel that sort of like history of it. I feel that how new it can be. So to me, that's very interesting that clay figurative work tells a story to the future. Even I left this world, that my clay figure will stay at different places, and who knows? I mean, it's gonna be there. So to me, that's very fascinating. Also, some of clay artists that I like is Viola Frey or Robert Turner or Peter Volkus kind of people. That their hands and their relation or with their hands and material is so beautiful. And Maria Martinez. I've seen her documentary and how she respect the material that's an offering from Earth, and then she will pray and she'll take the enough clay that she need to make a pots. And in our generation, probably we forgot to appreciate what we have. So Maria's documentary reminded me that this piece of clay is a very precious material. I can't just, you know, take use them like abuse them. You gotta respect the material. I gotta walk with the material. I gotta talk with the material to make something happen. So it's definitely that beauty of using natural organic material. And some of a painter I always look for is Nathan Orivella. I love his work, and and Wesley Kandinsky. It seemed random, but it's all well, composition's great, and then of course there's some patterns you notice, the color use of it. There's something that I always fascinated about his painting, and often that this reflect to my work as well when I paint. And Richard Dean Cohn, especially his Ocean Park series, always loved his work. Or Japanese woodblock printer, Shiko Munakata. I like that free drawing to it and then aggressive colors, and it's a very passionate way of use of brush strokes and color. And Marino Marini, simple yet I think it's a very strong figure. You see this volume. So back to that image from an airplane, I was so nervous, but then of course that I'm so excited at the same time. And I don't know, you've seen my work before, but then I thought about the moments of looking at the window like this, and nervous and exciting, to this moments of diving. When you dive in the water, you're nervous. At the same time, you're exciting. So that nervousness and exciting feeling so that happened to make all these diving figures. So I could call it swimmer, but I was talking about more likely moments of diving, so that to express the nervous feeling and excitement. And this is something we all have, not just because I'm Japanese. Everybody have this feeling of a nervous feeling and excitement when you dive into a new phase. For example, when you get a new job, first day of a school, moving to a different location, we all have that moment of a diving. So I'm not from here. I mean, I came from Japan, and but I always look for something that's common. I look for something that's universal. That's something I can share with everybody else. For example, that I make childlike figure like this because we all were children in some point, or you have a children right now. Use that childlike figure as a platform to start a story. So that's kind of reason that I always make childlike figure. And these pieces has like a circles and cross, and those are like hugs and kisses. So try to balance out the sweetness, bitterness, whimsy, all different type of a feeling together. So when you look at it, you're gonna reflect your feeling to it, because I guess that I grew up in a very historic town and looking at the Buddha figures, and so uh, um, they don't talk and they look the same every day. But when you feel different, or when you stand in front of it, and when you look at those, looks like they're talking to you. And it depends on your happy day. Sometimes you hear, "Hey, that's great." Sad day, "Hey, you okay? Hey, you should do better." You hear a lot of different voice when you stand in front of a figurative work. And I think that a beautiful thing is what we can create between that figurative work and you, and something that's between, and that's something else. I think that's how we feel. So right now we can't go see exhibition, we can't go out museum and so, but best thing we should do is go to gallery, go to museum, and see artworks, because what you can create between the artwork and you is something beautiful, something that you can't explain. You can't explain that moments when you go home and try to explain to your families and friends. That moment is just between you and the artwork. And I think that's beautiful. For example, another example would be, if I see something beautiful, and I think the actual moments of a feeling is that between the moments I saw the work and the moments that I said the word beautiful, somewhere between there has actual feeling that I received from what I saw. Because word beautiful, sometimes it's just so cheap that I can't express that what I actually felt. So I think that we are glad to be human to feel that something between something that's in you. I think that's very important. So some of a diving series and some exhibition I did in Tennessee. So you can find video of this exhibit somewhere too, or from my website probably. So this was at the Tennessee, and I set these work up, and I stayed there maybe 2 months or 3 months ish to make work there, and they let me stay there, and I made all these works, and we planned exhibition, and this is how that exhibition looks like. Again, it's a diverse series. And another installation. And I use a lot of bird because bird migrates, bird travel place to place. So it's kind of like my life moving from Seattle to Montana, Montana to Philadelphia, Philadelphia to Arkansas, and I moved to Kentucky, and I moved back to Arkansas again. It just it's kind of expressing a moving by using migration bird. These are rubber ducky. I made a cast of a rubber ducky, so it's a duck. I mean, duck travels. So, and I'll sometimes use the image of a rainbow, and I like the rainbow because it crossed the border. It doesn't matter where you are or what divides the people. The rainbow can always bridge two things together. So I think the rainbow is really cool. And when I was in Washington or Montana, you see huge rainbow from left to right, or both are touching to the ground. So I felt that the way rainbow can cross the border and bridge things together. I think that's great. And some other thing that I did is glass. So this is 2008. I had opportunity to go to Chihuly company to make couple pieces, and probably that the guy in the middle is of course Del Chihuly, and James Mongrain's a guy with a bandana, and their assistants there, and they made a piece for me. So I prepare like 60 different drawings, and because I had no idea at that point about any glass. So you see some drawing behind the people right there on the lower table there too. But I had a bunch of drawing and see what's possible and what can be made, and they helped me make some pieces. And glass is interesting because it's translucent, so you can see through the other side. And that's very different from ceramics. But at the same time, the temperature they go up to, or material glass, is similar to ceramics. So after that experience of 2008, I was in Kentucky 2016, 17 in the area. I was teaching at a small college called Center College, and this guy, Stephen Powell, was teaching glass there. So me and Steve likes to be like hands-on artists. We just like to do things with the hands. So one day Steve says, "Hey Ken, let's collaborate and make something." So, which is very honor. If you know Stephen Powell, he's like really known glass artist and really hardworking guy. He rarely collaborate with the people. So I was so honored and excited about this session. This is a picture that I act like I know what am I doing, but I have no idea, but I just want to involve to it. So, basically I'm holding this wooden paddle to protect him from a heat, but I see his arm is cooking because I'm not holding right. So, he never yelled at me or anything. When we had a great time working together. And both of us are wearing very safe clothes to do it, sandals and everything. It's a great time. So you get sometime audience, and this ended up going to local news, and it was, and so the people came to watch, and so this is a moment we try to like blow glass into a mold I made. So again, it looks pretty safe, right? So once glass blow into the mold and steam comes out, and it's just super exciting. So that's the piece came out from a mold. We did this like so many times during the summertime when school's not happening, and me and Steve just keep going, another one, another one, another one, and his assistant is saying, Ken, let's finish after this, we're done, like let's finish, tell Steve it's done. But me and Steve just want to keep going and make another one, and it was a really fun time. So this is like his signature pattern of marinis together, and this is like a finished piece. And we did more. I mean, there's more pieces that we finished together. Unfortunately, he passed away 2 years ago or so, and it was very difficult for me to take. So I have all glass pieces. I worked with him, and probably I'll keep them for a long time. I mean, I'm not gonna sell them. This is a good memory that we corroborated together. So another guy, Paul Nelson from Lexington, Louisville, Kentucky. He came and helped me out. And that time, look at this bunch of students helped me out as well. You see the mold down there is a plaster. So that plaster mold is probably like 150 to 200 pound. And you will heat that plaster mold to 1000 degree, and me and somebody else will pick up the mold from a kiln when it's 1000 degree, and then blow glass into it. It was really hot and exciting process for sure. So this is a some of a mold that I made for Paul Nelson. So it's a one-shot mold. So it has a plaster, has a silica and chicken wire mesh inside. So when you heat up a plaster up to 1500 degree, I heat it up to 1000 degree, it won't come apart because of wire mesh and silica and so inside. So, but then I can only blow one time. So if the piece come out wrong, it's just wrong. I mean, I have to make another mold. So this is some finished piece with Paul Nelson. So you see the yellow thing inside? That's a ceramic piece inside. I made a little ceramic head, and I put them inside because it's a blown glass, so inside is hollow. So the current project I'm working on is this. Uh, this is Hendrix College in Arkansas. They just built. I mean, they have this brand new opening. Opening is coming up next month. This is a Wingate Museum of Arts in Hendrix College, and you see that yellow circle there. I'm gonna display my piece there, and so that my piece will be over the window showcase there for the opening and the first I guess the face-to-face exhibit, I guess. But this is because of a COVID situation, they couldn't do anything last year, and students has been gone, and this is the first time that the students is coming back to campus, and the first time that this museum is going to have exhibition in there. So I wanted to have something bright, colorful, happy, sweet, and also that this campus is a lot of red brick building. It's beautiful campus, but it's a red brick building, and then the my piece, like a diver series, it tend to be a little brown color. So I wanted to have something that stands out more, and something that brighter, happier, positive, cuter. So my idea was Smarties. Smarties is different color, different things, and wrapped in a one wrap like this, twisted to wrapped in a one thing. And I was kind of interested in that. And it's a different color, different things that's wrapped into one thing together. Okay. So we call it Smarties here in the States. Uh, Canada calls rocket candy rolls, I think. In Japan, we call it ramune. So exhibition window exhibit I'm doing is called a ramune candy roll. So the piece is going to be like this. So it's much cuter, sweeter, softer. So when students walks by, and hopefully that sends some positive, happy feeling. Is this thing always here? Anyway. Again, this is Hugs and Kisses, but it has a nichrome wire behind it and stabbed into my figure. So same. There's some diver figure in here as well, but I made it much colorful, sweeter, softer, like Smarties. So think about you're walking past all these pieces one by one, and everything at the end is wrapped in one wrapping together. So just like a Smarties. So it's all together. Looks like this. Do I have any images? So it's much colorful, cheerful, and as a group, when people walk by, hopefully this will send some positive vibes to students that just came back to the canvas. I think that's it, Regina.
Thank you, Kensuke. That was fantastic. Let me just come back on here.
Stop and click stop share.
Yep, you got it. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Kensuke. That was a really wonderful presentation, and thank you for sharing so deeply about your work. And I enjoyed that. Let me just see, there's one more question here. Love the whimsical nature of the children. Thank you for a lovely presentation. And thank you, a lot of people saying thank you so much for a great talk. So this presentation is being recorded, and it'll be available in our virtual library in a week or two. We'll add it in there with the other artist talks that we have. Kensuke, thank you once again. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night,
Thank you very
everybody.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Regina.